Hi guys, hello and welcome to the THQ Podcast. So I'm back doing my interviews again, and today I'm going to be interviewing Matt. Matt is a THQ Leak trainer. He's only just started with us, probably within the last 12 months. But what we're going to be talking about is his mindset from sort of making that transition from changing everything in his life is to then becoming to work for us, and also his mindset of changing how his training has changed massively over the years as well. So it'll be interesting to look at that from Matt's perspective, and how things can change, and how you guys can also change things as well if things aren't necessarily working for you anymore. And also being a vegetarian, and like how that sort of the struggles of making sure that he still is hitting his protein goals, and what sort of it does, because I think that does interest people. And what I get concerned about is that people just swapping this non-meat, walking into a supermarket, and just because something says no, it's not got meat in it, then it's all of a sudden healthy people who perceive that. And I just want to have this conversation, so I hope it is going to help people. So Matt, welcome to the THQ Podcast. So introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about your story.
Well, I'm 31. I'm a THQ trainer at Leak and also at Whaley Bridge.
What was your training like before I joined THQ? Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I used to run a lot, used to cycle a lot throughout my 20s. Early 20s I used to travel a lot. Never sort of thought about my health really, so I'd just train for get better at cycling and be more.
How big were your rides that you used to do?
I used to travel all over the world really for like 2-3 months at a time.
Yeah.
So really like endurance-based sort of cardio. So I'd never even think about weight training. It wasn't part of my sort of training at all. So it was all cardiovascular health was what I was concerned about. So I was able to travel, do like 80-90 mile bike rides a day, or kit on the bike. Yeah. So it was tough, and again, it was never anything to do with weight training in terms of my training. It was all cardio based.
Yeah. So would you say, obviously you didn't do weight training? We had a little conversation before as well, is that you was everything, you was trying to get better and better and beat that time and sort of get better.
Yeah, it was all like goal specific. So sort of I'd cycle a lot early 20s, and then I got into running when I was about 25. But really got into it, so I was competing in races. I was constantly striving to get better and better and faster in terms of time. So my training got sort of like focused on improving at running, improving at the actual specific exercise. So like I'd train 5, 6, 7 times a week running, just to knock seconds off my time. I wasn't thinking about the health, wasn't thinking about aesthetics, how I looked. It was just constantly focusing on, getting to a specific level.
Yeah.
My training was all like sport specific, and it was all. Yeah.
So how did you, obviously, what your current training plan now, tell me a little bit about that, and that transition from sort of changing, because what I think a lot of us do is did you get to the point, I think we did speak about, you got to a point when you felt like that wasn't serving you anymore with injuries
definitely.
And things like that, and what sort of made you want to sort of explore different types of training, and was there a fear of, well, I've always done that and I don't want to do something else?
You get into a sort of comfort zone, you only know one sort of thing. I had goals and I had things that I wanted to achieve in terms of my running, in terms of races, so I'd always train for that. But once I did that and I achieved what I wanted to, and I ran a race in a certain time, and I was left in a bit of limbo, and I was like, well, I've done that now. I kind of carry on training like this, and I couldn't, because that training 5, 6, 7 times a week, all focusing on that specific sport, improving performance, it battered my body, so my joints were knackered. I was always lethargic, no energy, psychologically miserable, because I was literally just waking up, not enjoying my training, thinking I've got to wake up at 5 in the morning to do an hour run so I can improve on the time for my last race and whatnot. So it was taking its toll, not just on my body, training in that way, but also on my mind too.
Yeah, and if things like that are taken, if things like that cause, because stress is stress, like stress comes in different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
But stress is stress. So obviously you was pursuing that, and that was probably affecting your health in sort of a negative way as well. Because if you are stressed, it's bringing you stress into your body. So I think we're both agreeing in that is when you're training for body composition now, health is a very important factor. So tell me a little bit about your training now and how you perceive it. Is it more like health based and body composition based, and then like you still do little bits of cardio, but then obviously improving your health, improving your body composition, recovering from sessions now, and not having injuries. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got to a point where I realised that training in that way wasn't sustainable at all long term. So I've always sort of read and trying to educate myself on training methods, and health sort of like my own health sort of became a bit more of a priority. So I sort of obviously understood the value of weight training and longevity and how the aspects of it that have a positive impact on your health. So I sort of just transitioned from taking cardio down a little bit, sport specific training, to running. Stopped running as much, stopped cardio training as much, and it just increased sort of weight training. And as soon as I did that, and I started to see the benefits and the results, and felt how my body felt after I've weight trained, it was just, that was it. That was the way I wanted to train, and that's the way I wanted my body to feel for the rest of my life, really. So literally now, currently, I'd say train 5-6 times a week, maybe do a couple of runs a week, but literally just because I enjoy it. Nothing to do with, I could train 5-6 days a week in the gym, do no cardio at all, feel brilliant, and get to where I want to be just through weight training. I do cardio now, maybe run a couple of times a week, cycle in the summer a little bit, just because I enjoy it. I find it sort of therapeutic, and it's easy to my mind. So yeah, literally my training now is all focused around sort of like feeling good, making sure my body feels good and I'm alert, and it's all sort of health based now, I'd say.
So would you say someone that's been from two sides of the spectrum, someone who've chased their performance goals, battered their body, now someone that is training for aesthetics, looking good and health as well, would you say that how people can judge that? Because I've never, I was speaking to Jules before, he's like, I've never followed an intense training plan where I'm trying to improve my performance. How my training has changed is from ego and like generally just wanting to look good to now obviously still wanting to look good, but more of a health perspective. So would you say a good indicator for people that if they're improving their health is how they're feeling?
Oh, definitely.
So
So how you feel, if your training is making you feel crap and you finish a session and you feel knackered and you've got no energy, and you're doing that 3-4 times a week to yourself, it's going to have a massively negative impact. So I sort of like now, I never train now and not want to do it. So like I said, when I used to wake up 5 in the morning to go for a run, it's like, I've got to, for this reason, for increase my time or whatnot. Now I get up and I think I get to train now. It's enjoyable. And that obviously ties in with, because it makes me feel better, and because it makes my body healthier, and I feel better for it. So that's sort of how I train now. It's all to feel good, to obviously to look good as well. That helps, but it's more than anything, it's looking after my health.
100%. I think that's why we start people off in 3 times a week, because 3 times a week, like 45-minute sessions, is very easy to recover from. So people are going to be feeling good, and then obviously as they get better and they get probably more like me and you with the diet, and they can actually maybe train more and things like that. But I think that's a valuable point, and what I want people to take away from it is that the minute that you feel that you can't bother to go to the gym, it's not because of like you've eaten crap, but if you've eaten crap and you work too much, that's a different thing of not wanting to go to the gym. But if you're committed to it and you're training and you're getting to that point, maybe it's time to just take a few sessions off and just take a little bit of a chill, and maybe look at other things. Like sometimes people do 3 sessions a week with us, and they're going to do boxing, and they're going to do running, and they're going walking, and they're going. And it's everything that they're doing, and that is eventually just going to bring them down.
Definitely, it needs to be sustainable. Everything you need to do really needs to be sustainable. And if, like you say, you're training that much, I've been there, I've done it, I've trained 6-7 days a week, and I know it makes you feel, it's, for a certain amount of time you feel great, you're getting results, but you can go too far that way really sometimes. So, like I say, a good indication for me with my training is that I'll listen to my body, see how I feel. If I train 3 days a week and I should be training, I've planned to train on a 4th day, but I don't feel too good and I feel a bit lethargic, then I might take a day off, take a day recovery, make sure my food's on point, and get back to where I need to be really feeling physically before I go at the gym again.
Yeah, cool. And one thing I picked up on there, and I think this is something, and I know it's something that was naturally built into you, is just reading and educating yourself and doing it. It's something that's not been naturally built into me. I think I've told you before, is I probably didn't read a book till I was like mid-20s or something. I never read it now. Like I listen to an audiobook a week and I read a book a week, and it's like I'm constantly wanting to learn. And I think that is my bit of advice if anybody wants to live it. If you want to live it and understand things, you've got to learn and do it. And if you do that, and it's exciting as well, isn't it, to learn about new things. But would you say that was key to you having the trust to change what you was doing so much? So like going from running and cycling to now weight training, but that ability to learn, you've always been wanting to learn. Would that say that was a
definitely. The more you educate yourself, the better sort of decisions you'll make in terms of anything. So, and when I decided I wanted to constantly try and improve my health and try and make sure that my body's feeling good and I'm looking long term a bit more after I stopped running as much, then learning about the values of weight training, the values of adding muscle to your body and speeding up your metabolism and what this does for you, especially long term, learning that is one of the reasons why I sort of like threw myself into it and changed my training around completely. And that experiencing it, feeling the value from weight training and from getting stronger, and then obviously aesthetically as well, looking good. It's always nice to look good, especially in the summer. T-shirt on, vest. It's not a vain thing, but it's not, it's always nice to look good too. So it's constantly learning all the time. There are always different training methods you can implement, and there are different things I read about now and think, right, I might try that, might try this. And just trying to educate yourself as much as you can.
So what someone to get from that is if they're stuck in a rut, if they're not necessarily stuck in a rut, let's say they've done something all the time, they're so focused on doing it, best way to get out of it is learn. Start to learn about something else. You'll see the advantages of something else. You'll start to look at fitness from a whole new level, and you can adapt and change it, and that's why you can stay motivated.
You can just get tunnel vision, can't you? About if you do 100%. Anything, and especially if you're good at something or you see results in something to a point and you're just reluctant to change, whether it's your training, whether it's your food and nutrition, you just go into a comfort zone and think it's human nature, isn't it?
Cool, so you became a THQ trainer a year ago, and one of the main things that stood out towards in the interview as well was like your complete ability to just say, we said like, we was a new business, we'd not opened, you'd probably not heard of the other gyms that we had, and it was just like, that was like, Matt, are you willing to quit your job? How long did you have your job for before this?
It was good, like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah,
like that.
Long time. You've got a little one. You've got, you're not just you've got your little one to support as well. So it was that ability to just think, I'll go on to this, and it's that mindset and approach I think is why you've been able to keep training for so long and keep exercising for long, having that ability to do that. So tell me a bit about like, what was your fears of going all in, maybe to the job role or changing your training techniques or anything really? What was your fears and what sort of, tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I think you have fears in anything, any sort of change that goes on in your life. Any time that you think, right, I'm going to change this, you're always going to have fears. It's whether it's like, say, for myself, it was my career. I completely changed my career. Decided I want to, help as many people as I can to get in as good a shape as possible and improve people's health. And it was scary because I had a comfortable job. I didn't have to do that. I have a 2-year-old son. He was literally, just coming up to 1 at the time. So the easier thing would have been to just continue my little comfortable job, which I didn't really have much passion for. It was it wasn't a dead end job, but it was like I'd go work autopilot for 5-6 hours of the day and come home just means to an end kind of thing. But I didn't want that. So it was a case of like, when you've got like a young son, and like I have, I can't just dip my toes in the water and think, right, I want to change my job, but you've got to either do it or you haven't. And if it's something that you feel passionate about and you believe in, which I did, I believe in weight training. I believe in the values that I have in terms of personal training, obviously, which coincided with the values that you guys have at THQ. And I just believe if you believe in yourself and you want something enough, then you'll do whatever it takes to get there. And if you don't, then you mustn't want it enough. It's the same with anything. Same with training again. It's like if I in terms of like when we were talking about cardio and when I used to run a lot, I wanted to run a certain race in a certain time. I knew that I had to dedicate a lot of my time to train to improve to actually achieve that goal I wanted to do. So I've always been able to, have that focus on something that I've wanted to do. But like I said, I think it's if you want anything in life, you've got to really work hard for it and focus on it.
100%. And again, and that starts with going all into the process.
Yeah,
and you come down, you want to. I think what a lot of people say is like, oh, they want abs or they want to do this, they want to do that with fitness, and what they're really looking for is just contentment, like feeling content with the body, how they look, contentment with the routine and everything being structured. And you will only ever find your contentment, I would think, if you go all in, like go all into the process. You in it, you will find contentment with how you look and your routine, and everything will be fine. If you keep dipping your toe in the water, you'll never find contentment, you'll never be happy, and then you will crash diet for a six-pack, and you will burn yourself out doing loads and loads of stuff. It's just going to, when you find contentment and you look at things, but I think that's and you've got that concept and all in mindset, so that massively helps.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So what is your transition from like your past training in the future? Like we spoke about that, but what was tell me one biggest thing, we've spoken about anything, but what's your one biggest tip that you can give somebody that is currently doing a training plan or doing some type of exercise that used to serve them that don't serve them anymore? Like apart from studying and reading, is there anything else that you would say that would be?
Well, like we were saying, just if you're doing something and you're not seeing results from it, or you're stuck in a rut, like I say, have the balls to just go all in to whatever it is you want to do. So if you're stuck with a certain body shape, or like we say, a lot of members will come in and they want six-pack abs or whatever, and they want to get in shape, but they say, oh, I can't really do this, I can't really do that. If you want something enough, you've got to go all in. You've got to make it part of your life. Even if it has to become the main thing you do and the main focus of your life. I know people have got kids and got jobs and this, that, and the other, and that's fine. But if you want something enough, if you want to shed, 2-3 stone, or you want that, six-pack abs, then you've got to make that your sole focus for a certain period of time, not for the rest of your life. But it has to be the number one priority in your life if you really want it enough. That
point, that's a very good thing. And that's why people are scared of going on, because they think, I can't do that forever. But sometimes you don't have to. You have to go all in, and then the flexibility can come, and then the understanding of what you actually want out of it is there, so you can just work backwards from there or work around it from there.
Yeah, it's like we do, like the shoot. What we do is 12 weeks. It's 3 months. And the results you can get in that period of time, if you go all in and you make your health and fitness and your body transformation the sole focus of your life, in 3 months and 12 weeks is unbelievable. You can get amazing results from it. And it's 12 weeks. And it's not like it's something, some flippant thing that, you're investing time in something that's not going to benefit you. It's your health. It's your health and fitness, your body. So, and then once you've built that, once you've got to a point where you're happy with your body, you're happy with it, like you've said so many times before, it's so much easier to keep and maintain a result than it is to build one. And so you've just got to go all in with your body transformation, your training type, your nutrition, whatever it is, So yeah, just dive in head first and make it your sole focus.
100%. Like, people get worried about that. Like, and at the end of the day, if you were knuckling down for an exam, you'd knuckle down, you'd go all in, you do it. It's no different than body transformation. And I think the people that yo-yo are the people that don't go all into the process, and that's why they think like, oh, these 6-week programs or 12 week, they don't actually work, because then I just revert back. And on my honest opinion, from when we've been from doing the shoots for 6 years now, only people that go back are the people that didn't go all into the process in the first place. If they go all in there and they live it and they educate, they do it slowly and they feel okay by doing it, and they've got that education, they've got that commitment, that confidence or commitment will stay with them afterwards. It's not going anywhere. They've just knuckled down and got the work done and got the body fat off that they needed to.
Yeah.
That's
it's you learn, don't you? So it's like you were saying about, I used to run a lot competitively, and I went all in on that, and I was literally training really hard to do that. If I decided now that I want to run a marathon or whatever, an half marathon in 6 months' time, I could create a plan now and train specifically for that sport from my previous experience, and probably do really well at it. And because I've done it, because I went all in there, and I've educated myself on what it'll take in terms of training. And it's the same with your body composition. If you get to a point where you're happy with your body, and you have a few months off and you let go a little bit, but you've got that education, you've got that past experience to be able to know, right, it's only going to take me 6 weeks now. If I knuckle down, get my head down like I did when I did my shoot or whatever, I'll get back to the shape that I want to.
And you've got that confidence and that skill. Again, that skill that comes from going all in, and that's what you got, and that's what you learned about when you were yourself doing that, and that's why you were able to just transition from fitness and from your career anyway. So
and it's hard. It's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but having that daily discipline. But if it's something that you are passionate about and you are focusing on that, then you will do it if it means enough to you.
Awesome. So, obviously, tell me about being a vegetarian and how that sort of. Tell me about it.
Well, I've been a vegetarian for about 3 years now, I'd say. It's a decision I made for sort of environmental and ethical reasons. It was absolutely nothing to do with health. I know a lot of people these days read a lot about the health benefits of being a vegetarian or vegan, movies like Game Changers and whatnot. It has completely nothing to do with health purposes. The best and most readily available source of protein is meat. To sit here comfortably and tell you that. I have to tell it to members too, ask me about my diet. But it's obviously from when I never used to really focus too much on my diet when I was younger. I train a lot, and sort of when you're young, it's not as much of a priority when you're young as I don't think as when the older you get and your metabolism naturally slows down a little bit, and it has to become more of a focus. But I decided to become a vegetarian, but when I did, again, I was more cardio-based training, so nutrition, I wasn't educated that much in terms of macros and protein levels and things like that. But it's when I started to weight train a lot more regularly, and again, research and read up about optimal sort of like nutrition and how to build muscle and whatnot and get yourself into good shape. And you realise that protein obviously is a massive part of that, especially when you're weight training. And then again, educating myself and tracking calories and realising that I ate nowhere near the amount of protein that I should do. And then it became a challenge then to really sort of like find foods that were high in protein, that I liked, that were tasty, that I could fit into my sort of like weekly diet plan. And it is hard, it's challenging, it still is, especially if you don't plan. So if I don't plan my meals or plan my week, I find it really, really hard really hard to hit my protein levels. A lot, because it's a lot more difficult. You can just, if you eat meat, you can just go into a supermarket and buy a big pack of chicken and just eat that. But it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more challenging.
Getting the full amino acids as well out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Balancing the amino acids.
Yeah. So again, that's a very important point, because for ethical reasons, I 100% respect that, and I like your view on it that and I think we spoke about it before, is that you're not necessarily you're doing it for health, because eating meat is just as healthy as not eating meat, and it's the reasons that you do it. And you said you didn't notice any different health benefits from not eating meat to eating meat now. one of my main concerns for people is going in buying junk and just meat-free stuff as well. So how do you do your meal prep, and how important is it to eat decent food still, even though you're not eating meat?
Massively for how your body feels. For a start, eating good, nutritious whole food, whether you eat meat or not, is going to get your body feeling, good, and it's going to get your energy levels up. And it's just because you don't eat meat and you're a vegetarian doesn't mean that you eat healthy. A lot of people think that, and they think, well, you just eat vegetables, and you can eat absolute loads of crap being a vegetarian and feel rubbish all the time. So like say for me, planning is the most important part for me, so I'll actually dedicate some time, whether it be a couple of hours on a Sunday night at the weekend or whatnot, to actually cook my foods.
What food do you cook? What's your main protein source?
Main protein source, well, I eat dairy, so I like yogurts, eggs, things like that I still eat, so vegetarian, not vegan. Things like tofu, quinoa, a lot of nuts, a lot of beans, a real lot of nuts and beans. But yeah, rice, things like that. I do occasionally eat that plant-based sort of meat alternative, like things like corn or something like that. From make a bolognese or a chili with corn mince, or because it is high in protein. It's not ideal. I don't try not to rely on that as my main source of protein, because, like you say, a lot of it's processed and it isn't the best. But yeah, so I sort of obviously eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of like coconut oil, olive oil, things like that. But yeah, I plan a lot, so I'll prep for 3-4 days at a time. Do what Ryan said he does when you interviewed him about, I'll make a big tea, and then literally every day whatever I eat for my evening meal is my lunch the next day. So I just try and take out the times where you have to make a decision, because if you're having to make decisions about your food and nutrition, sometimes you make a good decision. 99% of the time you'll make a bad one. Because if I don't plan and I have to go into a supermarket or whatnot and buy something in your face of all these different options, so many times if you're not feeling great or you're feeling a bit lousy, you're going to make a bad decision. You're going to eat something that you shouldn't really, when you know you shouldn't, and then that's just lead you down a bad path and you'll feel crap for the rest of the day, and one bad decision leads to another. So just planning really.
So what's been obviously the importance of eating whole food? What's been the biggest struggles of being a vegetarian and getting your protein in? Your biggest struggles, would you say?
Well, yeah, sort of days when you get caught short, obviously, and you haven't got that meal prep with you. And it is tough because you can't, like I say, you can't just go in and buy a big chunk of meat. So, but it's hard. People just think you get your protein levels in your food and that's it, you're done. It's still challenging to this day. Like every single day is a challenge in terms of getting your protein levels in, because it is massively important. If I don't eat enough protein, I can feel it. Feel it in my body. Feel weak and I feel crap. And so I understand how important it is. And even if it's, occasionally you might have to have some yogurt and some fruit or like a protein bar, I try and always reach my levels. That sometimes in an ideal world, it'll be well balanced. I'll have all my amino acids, it'll be perfect. But sometimes it's not. But I still try and get the levels up.
Yeah, cool. So, for anyone watching this, what would be your one tip that would anybody who is vegetarian, or maybe who's just turned vegetarian, or like, what would be your one tip to say to them what they need to focus on? Because I think as well, there's a lot of influence by movies like The Game Changer and things like that. And definitely you need to do your own research.
Yeah, definitely.
And understand why you need to do it as well. And if you are saying, don't just rely on me and Matt saying it's got no difference in health, get your own blood work done and have your own test done and do it yourself and do your own tests. But what would your one bit of advice on this topic to anybody?
Just explore foods, like we were saying about. You can just walk into a meat-free section of a supermarket now and there's just all sorts of processed meat alternatives. That is not like the whole vegetarian range that you can eat, just packs of corn or whatnot. Just explore foods, explore recipes, read books, and really try and find out what it is you can eat, different sources of protein. Again, sort of educate yourself really, because you can say, I know a lot of people who have become vegetarian or who sometimes go from eating meat to being vegetarian and back to eating meat, and like yo-yo a little bit. And I think it's because they just sort of like don't educate themselves. I mean, there's all sorts of different things you can eat. There's all different food groups that you can go for. And it's just trying things out and exploring actual ranges of food. Because you know, I don't eat meat now, and I never go a day and think, you know, I miss, for taste wise, I miss chicken or I miss beef or whatnot, because there's a lot of tasty alternatives you can eat. And again, protein is obviously always a big focus, especially, you know, weight training as much as I do.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to go over. I think
Cool.
that's helped everybody massively having a look at insight, and it's good for people to obviously look at an insight for you, but I think you've got a obviously very interesting journey, so I think that will, you know, that'll help. So
Good.
Thanks for coming on. All right, cheers guys for listening and for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.